Hi y'all, my name is Dovinh and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. I have just moved from Compass Real Estate to REAL Broker LLC. So the point of this video is to let you know some of the reasons why and my thought process. So let's rewind a little bit. I'm now in my 5th year of real estate and I've sold over 100 homes at this point. My average price point is around $850 and I've had experience as being part of a team at RE/MAX, learned a lot there. And then I went to Marketplace Sotheby's International Realty, where I was an individual agent and then started a team of about 10 people there. So have some experience as a team leader. And then I got recruited to Compass. They gave me a chunk of money to come over and that was a big blessing. And I was a principal agent there and then also a sales manager on a high producing team. So I've kind of had a lot of different stops already, but finally I think I've made it to the one that I'm not gonna move on. So you can quote me on that and let's get into the reasons why. First, I'm gonna talk about the brokerages that I left. So the advantage to RE/MAX is that RE/MAX is quite affordable in terms of their splits and their caps. The thing about RE/MAX though, it's for me a little bit old school on the branding, and I did have a monthly desk fee that ended up adding up. And when I started at the very beginning of COVID, there was a lot of digital work that needed to be done, so I wasn't really in the office as much as I was probably paying for. At Sotheby's, I really enjoyed the international aspect. I was able to send a few international referrals out, and their luxury division really taught me what really good print and digital marketing look like at a higher price point. Unfortunately though, for me, those two brokerages were not quite the right fit for me wanting to start a team with how much I love teaching, as I used to be a music teacher. I went over to Compass because they were the new hot thing. They had a great platform and still do. And it was a very slick, almost like an Apple product for the clientele and for the agent on the back end. Their goal was to make one platform slick for everyone so that you didn't have to have all these disparate systems. I think they did a really good job of fulfilling that promise. The problem for me was that it came at a pretty hefty price. So I had over 20 million of production last year and I was able to negotiate a relatively good split. But even with a 90-10 split, there was no cap at all. So unlimited the amount I could spend, whether it's $40 or $45 or $50,000, that really adds up. That being said, no monthly desk fees, super nice offices, great branding, great app. But at the end of the day, a lot of money that could have gone to my family, my kids, was going to the brokerage, and that was tough. So here comes REAL. Here are the 3 main tenets of REAL that made it attractive for me. So the first one was work hard, be kind. I think in real estate, it's pretty easy to have your business fail if you're not consistently working hard. And it's also easy to fail if you're treating people like a jerk, right? If you're not ethical and working hard, it's probably not the best industry for you long term. Number 2, they have a concept of we is bigger than me. Because of how collaborative the community is, they started a platform called One Real. And because we all have stock options, we're all in it together. Unlike other brokerages where you might want to keep some secrets from another agent because they're your competition, at REAL Broker, no one's really your competition, because if one broker in the company does well, it means that the company is more profitable, which means your stock options are going to be more valuable. And the third tenet is that humanity and tech are combining. I think it's just a smart way to look at it in terms of we're in 2025, so if we want to be great agents and serve our clients best way, we need to have the slickest technology possible. So for me, I think Compass and REAL on the technology side are equivalent. I think on the marketing side, they're equivalent, but on the financial side, REAL just makes a lot more sense. So let's break it down in terms of the finances. Because it's a 100% digital and cloud-based brokerage, the company has pretty slim financials as far as the expenses. One big difference between the stock options at Compass versus Real is that there's a significant stock matching program at Real, from 5% matched by the company to up to 10% matched by the company. With Compass, I didn't have that. Also, at Compass, they kind of IPO'd, had their initial public offering at nearly $20 or so for their stock, and it's currently at $8. So it hasn't gone well overall. It's slowly creeping up, but it's gonna take a while for them to get truly profitable because they're set up more like a tech company and they have a lot of heavy expenses, especially with the super nice offices they have. So Real is a lot more slim of a business model. I believe their stock has already split once and it's currently at $4+ and continues to go up. And if you look at all the financials, the company is profitable and doing great. One thing that's really cool about the stock options too is that they make it willable to your beneficiaries. So for me, I have 2 children, so I could have a certain percentage or all of my stock in the company be willed to them when I pass away. So if you're looking for long-term wealth for you and your loved ones, I think you should really look into the stock options at Real. At other companies, everybody has a different split and a cap, and it's usually based on someone's production and years in the business and influence and negotiating skills. Here at Real, every individual agent has the same split, so there's not that weird underlying competition. It's very transparent. So it's 85% take home and 15% to the company. The cool part is that as an individual agent, it caps out at $12,000, which means the most that I would spend in this entire year is $1,000 a month, AKA $12K in a year. So just by moving and doing the same thing that I was doing last year, I could save myself $30,000+, boom, off the bat. I've also decided to join their stock matching program, so I'll be allotting at least 5% of my commissions towards stock that the company will match, and then I will also name my children as beneficiaries when the time comes. Not only that, Real also incentivizes teams and team leaders at the brokerage. So how do they do that? Well, if I were to bring on a team member, their cap would only be $6,000. So that means the most they would spend would be $500 in a month or $6,000 in the whole year. So you can see that the traditional model of, hey, I'm on a team and my team takes 50% plus, or they're taking 30% or 20%, you're immediately getting a raise by moving over to Real. And if you have those stocks that are going up as well. And you might ask, well, what can I do with the stock? In my experience, there are other brokerages that have a prop share model, such as Keller Williams or EXP. That being said, the reputation of Real brokers, at least in my area, in the greater Seattle area, is that Real brokers really focus on actually selling homes and production. So recruiting is part of the business, but it's really not the main focus. And one of the ways that Real shows that as a company is they have a program called Elite Agent. And there's 2 ways to get the Elite Agent status. And one of them is having at least $500,000 of gross commission income in a year, so that's $500K GCI, and having sold at least 10 $1 million properties. So it really incentivizes those who are really producing and luxury agents and high volume team leaders and individual agents, because once that person reaches elite status, they actually get $16,000 worth of company stock. In other words, they're working for 100% of their commission, which is pretty unheard of in our industry. Remember, the cap was $12,000. So they're getting $16,000 worth of stock. Not only that, there's another avenue for those who are really into helping others, into teaching. You can make another $8,000 in a year by teaching others within the One Real platform. There are also a few company fees to keep in mind, and overall they're pretty inexpensive in my opinion. So one of them is an annual $750 fee, which is split up between your first 3 transactions, so $250, $250, $250. In order to submit your application and get your license transferred over, the company asks for a one-time fee of $249. So you can see why Real Broker LLC makes a lot of sense for someone like me, someone that has experience as a team leader, experience as a team member, someone that likes to help other people. For me, I have beneficiaries that I'm looking forward to saving for their long term, and also having a very tech forward, modern approach for all my clients. So if you're interested in talking about Real, I'm always here for you. You can check out my socials and also link in the description if you want to just read more about the company. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.